emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind. Have no fear for atomic energy, 'cause none of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Some say it's just a part of it, we've got to fulfill the book. So won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever hear is redemption song. Soldiers march their freedom out into the city streets. Though it seems like a losing battle, there can be no retreat. So won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever hear is redemption song.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome. I am Mike Montagne, original 1968 architect of Mathematically Perfected Economy and founder of People for Mathematically Perfected Economy, speaking again on our worldwide initiative for mathematically perfected economy and absolute consensual representation. This program, Mike Montagne on Mathematically Perfected Economy and Absolute Consensual Representation, pertains to a vital, long-standing fact of singular monetary solution, and is broadcast regularly from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time each Saturday, today on November 20th, 2010, from TNS Radio, tnsradio.com. That's TNS, Tirnasor, Land of the Free. Original material copyright and trademarked by Mike Montagne. All rights reserved. This broadcast is the fifth of a set of introductory programs which are best negotiated in order, as previous material develops a vital background for what follows. Links to archives of this and previous programs are available at tnsradio.com and through the domain perfectedeconomy.org. In our previous programs, we discussed the inevitable failure of pretended economy and effect of singular solution to the categoric faults of today's lie of economy. We laid out how we would engineer a true economy versus its present antithesis. We discussed the fundamental causes of the many injustices of the present purposed obfuscation of the currency. We demonstrated how the purposed obfuscation of the currency is terminal, that it can only engender a terminal cycle, repeating incident after incident of global depression. We discussed how the obfuscation of the currency caused the first Great Depression. The latter of these important concepts were summarized in something I said in 1995, over 25 years after determining a fact of singular solution. Imagine that you are designing the first combustion engine. A prototype finally starts. It sputters, it coughs, it stumbles. You envisioned smooth delivery of power, efficient power. Your very initial objective was to achieve full possible power. So is an engine to cough? Is an engine barely to run? No one would ever have built a decent engine if we exclaimed only how wonderful all the running amidst all the first sputtering. Imposition of a central banking system upon true free enterprise runs quite the opposite course. It takes a free-running engine and irreversibly multiplies its debt until it can run no more. That it ran in the first place, that it ran for some time, and that it improved its production at times even faster than usury imposed ever greater oppression, is no testament to the ostensible merits of usury, nor does it prove the subject commerce can sustain itself against the multiplying costs of debt forever. In fact, commerce is finite, and a system which can only multiply debt in proportion to commerce can only eventually exceed the capacity of finite commerce to support infinite, irreversible multiplication of debt in proportion to a circulation. Indeed, as ever more of such a circulation must be dedicated to servicing the multiplying debt, ever less of the circulation remains to sustain commerce. The inherent collapse of a central banking system, therefore, approaches at an ever-escalating rate, as the subject commerce struggles against all the malignant consequences of servicing perpetual multiplication of debt in proportion to the potential commerce which can survive to do so. So indeed, all the injustices everywhere about us are not mere natural business cycles. They are artificially imposed injustices. They are man-made, and so, as John Kennedy reminded us, the problems about us are readily solved by man. Our destruction, the present nullification of representation, and our terminal, ever unjustified dispossession are all rectified only by closing every avenue for the crimes against us to prevail. In our previous program, we discussed how this presentation of mathematically perfected economy was the original monetary reform presence of the present Internet, preceding the formal Internet by 10 years. We likewise addressed that it has always been a proposition and even a proof of singular solution. We addressed many cases of how now 11th hour plagiarism of my work is so destructive to all of us. You don't get mathematically perfected economy from snake oil salesmen. You get division. An army of plagiarists, each tainting solution with their first whims, thus paves the way for the lie to persist. For what people ever prevail over anything, divided by every pretentious whim, all fostered by lack of integrity, where only absolute integrity can, should, and would otherwise prevail. The thing we must understand about plagiarists is they never connected all the dots. They never had all the dots. They never perceived all the dots, and that they work yet only to deceive us as if they had. In what they produce, therefore, is all the evidence of their own lie. Rather than establishing the truth, they are the first destruction of the truth. They never arrive at solution. They take from it and make something else out of parts of it. In the missing parts and in the flaws of the rest are the very facts both that they never authored solution and that the whim you take from them is not solution. Failing yourself to perceive this is no mere matter of buyer beware. On the contrary, it puts you in the same class of criminals against the rest of us. In today's program, we will address solution. Henry Ford is reported to have said, "It is well enough that the people of this nation do not understand our banking and monetary system, for if they did, I believe there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning." But the great automaker is never reported to have authored solution, and likely he likewise probably never even understood banking's obfuscation of the currency or its explicit determinate ramifications. The things we likewise suffer today. The problem is there can be no real revolution without solution, and so solution is the thing we must be after most. Thomas Jefferson said, "Free government is founded in jealousy, not confidence." It is jealousy and not confidence which prescribes limited constitutions to bind those we are obliged to trust with power. In questions of power, then, let no more be heard of confidence in men, but bind him down from mischief by the chains of the Constitution. This, of course, is what we must do. It is not enough to simply establish mathematically perfected economy or to attempt to establish it amidst the present powers that be. We can't accomplish these things unless we know explicitly what we must prevent, explicitly what we must establish, and unless having these and distinguishing these from their prolific plagiarism, we can distinguish and unite upon solution. Then we can proceed, and now we can understand the necessary structure of our international mandate for mathematically perfected economy and absolute consensual representation. So, in order to project what our mandate must address, we need to carefully observe the history that is developed into the present events. That is, the Federal Reserve Act was passed in the United States by betrayal. Explicitly, the Republican Party proposed that the answer to turmoil caused by banking institutions was to consolidate the banks under what they called their Aldrich Plan or Aldrich Bill. The Democrats promised in their 1912 party platform not to create a central bank and were elected. Immediately, the Wilson administration was permeated by the very agents of the Aldrich Bill, and as soon as they could rush it into existence, it was passed on the eve of December 23rd, 1913, with by a minimum of votes, in the absence of all those who adamantly opposed it. And of course, it was put into operation the following year, without ever subjecting it to public affirmation. From just these few things, we can see that if, for instance, the Democrat Party, and more specifically the Wilson administration, were held accountable to their campaign promises, there would not have been a central banking system imposed on the United States, and perhaps not across the rest of the world afterward. Certainly, no such thing would have transpired elsewhere by